world, established rich coming right back at you. And today, we're looking at a situation that started off as self-defense, but now has turned into a federal problem. This is about Allstar JR. And more importantly, it's about how a person can go from somebody who looked like they defended themselves to somebody who helped build a case against themselves. Now, we already know the incident that happened in Houston, so I'm not going to recap it like it just broke today. But we do need to talk about the foundation before we talk about what's happening today. Because the difference between what people thought happened and what the government says happened is two different things.
Houston police are searching for a gunman they say shot two men inside of a nightclub late last night.
Yeah, this happened at Confessions on Kirby Drive, where police say a violent altercation quickly ramped up. KHOU11's Devon Roming joins us live from outside that restaurant where this all happened. Devon, walk us through what exactly led up to this shooting.
Hey, good morning, Alona and Jacob. So this all happened, police say, just behind me here inside the Confessions nightclub there, which is on the second floor of this building where you see all those lights on and the sign lit up there reading Confessions. Now, it all quickly spiraled into a chaotic fist fight ending in gunfire that left two men critically injured, according to Houston police. Now, police say this all happened around 11:30 last night inside Confessions here on Kirby Drive. Investigators say an altercation involving three men broke out when two men tried to rip chains off another man's neck. Now, it's unclear if they knew each other. Police say the two suspects took the man to the ground and managed to steal his chains. Moments later, several others jumped in, turning the situation into a massive fight with multiple people beating the victim before he was able to pull out a gun and shot two people multiple times.
When you look back at that, the immediate reaction from everybody involved was that this case was self-defense. And on the surface, that made sense based on the fact that he was outnumbered during the attack. But self-defense is not just about the beginning of an incident. It's about everything that happens during and after that moment. And that's where this situation starts to shift. Because the law don't just ask whether or not you was in danger. It's going to ask whether your response matched that danger.
They started getting back at him. All I heard was this. They say, yo, we knocked the nigga out like 4 times. I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. So we knocked the nigga like 4 times. And they said his chain already gone. Like, he already got, niggas already took whatever they took from him. They said on the 4th time, this is crazy. They said we had to wake the nigga up. Now, I don't know if this is believable. They said we had to wake the nigga up. Imagine, they said they woke the nigga up from being knocked out. And they said, I ain't gonna lie, I swear. Well, that's what they told me. They said the 4th time after he been knocked out, like, cause it was, they just kept, they said, we don't know how this nigga found that strength, but the nigga was just moving. And all of a sudden, I guess somebody dropped some, blah, blah, blah. And that's when that happened. But I think they thought that, yo, we done knocked him out, robbed him, did whatever. Like, this nigga's weak as, but they said that nigga woke up with like a demon in him, yo, and just grabbed whatever and, you know, da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da.
Now, when you hear that version of events, it adds another layer to what happened. Because if somebody was actually beaten to the point where they feel like their life was in danger, then the initial use of force can be understood. But the problem is not what happened in the first moments. The problem is what happened after the threat was neutralized. This is where the legal line gets drawn. Because once a person is no longer a threat, your right to use deadly force starts to disappear. And according to what's being presented, the government feels like JR crossed the line. Now, this is where the situation goes from complex to damaging. Because this ain't just about what happened in the streets. This is about what was said after the fact.
In honor of my nigga being 10, since he wanted to play, when I was getting me some food, we made a dance for him. Now, the best way this dance can work, if a nigga shoot your dumb ass like 4 or 5 times before you fall. But if you don't got nobody to do that for you, just lay down smooth like this, right? Lay your ass down and point them toes up, right? You spread a little bit, then the nigga done spanked you. Then you just jump a little bit. Do the BNT, do the BNT, do the BNT, do the BNT, do the BNT. And there y'all go.
When you watch that, you're not just looking at somebody making content. You're looking at somebody who may have just undercut their entire self-defense story. Because in a self-defense case, everything comes down to whether or not you believed your life was in danger and whether your actions were necessary to escape that danger. But when you start mocking the situation, reenacting it, and describing what you did in detail, you are giving prosecutors something they don't usually have to work this hard to get. You are giving them your state of mind. And your state of mind is one of the most important elements in this case. Because if they can show that you were no longer acting out of fear, but out of anger and pride, then the entire self-defense argument starts to fall apart. Now add that to the claims that he returned to the victim after the initial shooting and continued to assault him even when the threat was neutralized. If that is true, then this is no longer about escaping danger. This is about escalating it. And that distinction is everything in a courtroom. Because the law don't protect revenge. It only protects necessity. Now let's talk about the charge itself, because some people are confused about why this is a federal case and why the charge is felon in possession of a firearm. The simple reality is, if you are a convicted felon, you are not allowed to possess a firearm under any circumstances. And possession does not require ownership. It only requires control. So even if the weapon didn't belong to him, the moment he had control of it and used it, that can be enough to trigger a federal case. And that's why you see in this case take the turn that it's taken. Now here's the part that really makes this situation hard to watch, because this ain't even have to go this way. If this had remained a clean self-defense case where the action stopped the moment the threat stopped, then we might be having a very different conversation right now. But when you add everything that happened after, to the social media posts, to the statements, and to the alleged behavior after the incident, it creates a completely different picture. And that picture is what prosecutors are going to present. Not just what happened in those few seconds, but what happened before, during, and after. And that's why this situation is no longer about surviving an attack. It's about whether or not the response went beyond the law. Now, I want to be clear about something, because this is important. This ain't about celebrating and taking sides. This is about understanding how quickly a situation can change based on your decisions after the fact. Because a lot of people focus on the moment they were in danger, but they don't think about how their moments after that moment can be judged. And in this case, it appears the aftermath may have done more damage than the incident itself. And that's the lesson in this, whether people want to hear it or not. You can be right in the beginning and still end up being wrong if you don't know when to stop. You can be defending yourself in one moment and cross a line in the next without even realizing it. And once that line is crossed, everything changes. So when I look at this whole situation, I don't just see a shooting. I see a series of decisions that turn the defensive position into a legal problem. And that's what makes this different from how people felt at first. Because this was never about what happened in that restaurant. It was about everything that happened after everybody thought the danger was over. And that's where cases are won and lost. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.